Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Gillo. I'm the U.S. Marketing Coordinator at Stilog I.S.T. I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. With me, we have Robin, our sales engineer, along with Shant Hostagian, our sales manager, who will be presenting our resource management and scheduling solution, Visual Planning. During today's webinar, we will demonstrate some of the key features visual planning has to offer for those in the construction industry. Following that, we've set aside 15 minutes for question and answers. Throughout the webinar, feel free to enter questions into the chat while we address these questions at the end of the session. Now I'll pass it over to Shant as we transition into the next session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian. My name is Shant Hostagian, and I am the software sales manager at Stilog I.S.T. And it appears we have a pretty high turnout today, and want to thank everyone for taking the time and joining in on this webinar. I think you guys are going to find it to be really beneficial. So we do encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar, and we will get to them during the Q&A segment towards the end. So visual planning is the ideal solution for companies in the construction industry. The planner you are about to see has been designed to showcase the best practices in the construction industry and to highlight the features companies benefit from. So with over 5,000 clients globally, our user base in the construction industry has increased by 23% in the last year alone. Scheduling and dispatching problems impact 40% of construction companies on average. Many companies are still using spreadsheets and whiteboards, which does not allow for real-time communication, adjustments to changes, and collaboration across teams, crews, and the company. Visual planning will enable you to view your available resources, more effectively plan for future projects, drive your hiring decisions, and will make you more successful in on-time delivery for current and future projects. So I'm going to turn it over to Robin, and she will start discussing VP Desk.
Thank you, Shant, and welcome everyone. We appreciate your taking the time to view the visual planning solution, an ideal and highly effective scheduling tool for construction companies and their processes. I'd like to start with an introduction to the basics of visual planning and view some projects that already have assigned tasks, and then create a new one to show how simple scheduling and visual planning can be. Please remember to note and submit any questions for our Q&A session. So let's get started. The first thing to remember in visual planning is that all the information is the same. We are able to show data in different ways, depending on the users and what their needs may be to view scheduling information. Views have been created today for the demo to illustrate how this data can be quickly shared in visual planning, saving hours of scheduling and task management time in the process while optimizing your resources. So let me get started with this first view. This first view is what we call a project overview. So what you're seeing here is a list of projects. We have different statuses for each. Each one of these has details in it. So for example, if I click on this project, information on here we've built so that you can figure out what your ID number might be, your office name or business name, any kind of type of project that you're going to be working with, title of your client, whether you want to have someone that's recurring or add a new one. You can assign a project manager if you choose, and give it a status. So this is an ongoing project because it's already started and it's going to probably go through maybe the holidays or whatever we decide is the appropriate end date. The project duration is 60 days. Now what's happening here is that we can determine the number of days beforehand, and we can safely say that it's going to be 60 days to meet the budget for delivery. Okay? These details will be taken into account once we start putting in the schedule or once you start seeing the schedule, and that's what's reflected here. So if I go into this project, you're going to see different tasks or what we call phases. Now to the right, we have forecasting, actual, and canceled. This is a project status, forecasting meaning in the future, actual meaning already completed. and canceled is canceled. Tasks, we've kind of put some things together here. All of this information we just drag and drop. So for example, a field study has been dragged and dropped here. And then if you go into it, we can determine the duration of days that phase is going to take. Now, if you look here on the left, we have days budgeted. So the, for example, in this demo and preps phase, we need 15 days. We budgeted for 8 days for field study, 10 for network study, and so on and so forth. So when I go in here, I know that I need 8 days here. This is what I indicate here, and that's what I enter there. And then I can go into my subsequent phases to make sure that everything is planned out correctly and according to budget and plan. I can assign vehicles if I choose, so I can drag and drop, or I can assign a vehicle, for example, to see what's available. Most of the assignments for resources on these tasks are going to be just by the click of a button. So I can assign, I have many choices as to what I can assign. It can be certifications, employees, anything like that, vehicles. And it's simple as that. So for example, let's say structural work, I need someone here, I need an employee. I want to see who's available. I'd like an electrician to do that job, and I just press OK, and they're assigned. Okay, so this is a, let's look at something that's already been completed. So if we go to, this started in August. So we go to August 16th for this project. You see how all of these are green because they're actual. Once it was completed, we're able to assign a status as actual, meaning that it was completed. Again, what we did was we scheduled out the number of days for each phase, and we listed each phase. You can just add that, add a title to it. If there's another phase that you want to add, press OK, and determine the number of days for that phase. So obviously we've planned out and scheduled each of these as we're going forward. And my project is coming out hopefully on time. Now, 70 days have been budgeted. I've got 50 days here. That means that I might be 20 days under budget, which is a good thing. So this is a good way for you to kind of measure your progress, measure your actual accuracy in terms of planning and actual execution. So these are samples. So let me show you a sample project, and why don't we schedule something here for to show you how easy it might be to schedule in visual planning. Okay, so what I've done here is kind of predated things or entered some information here on visual planning. And what I'd like to do is show you how it will work in terms of scheduling and really simple assignments. So let's see. So let's look at the first phases of the schedule. So I put these in place. My environmental study for 10 days. Wiring study, I think, might take 4. So what I'm going to do instead of 5, I'm entering 4 here. But my demo is going to take another day. So what I did was instead of 10, I put 11, right? I'm going to be over. But you can see from looking here that, well, we'll see it when I schedule everything. So under networking, I have the 20 days that I've scheduled. But now my structure repair still needs to be scheduled. So there's still a 0 there. So I need to schedule 10 days. So let's schedule some structure repair. Let's do it here. And this needs to be scheduled for 10 days. All I do is enter 10. And then for a walkthrough, let's say that a walkthrough is going to be, let's say this is going to be more of a study. So I can do a study here as a walkthrough, and I'm going to need 5 days for this. So what I do is just enter 5. So you can see here, my objective was 60 days scheduled, and 60 days scheduled have been completed, even though some days have been up or down. Now, I want to start assigning resources. So obviously you can see here that I've assigned Thomas and I've assigned Ava. So I want to assign someone for structural work. I just click on this. Again, The right click is going to give you lots of options in terms of choices and what you need to, in terms of assigning tasks. So I want to assign an employee, whoever's available. And this is going to be structure work. So I think I'd like an engineer. So let's assign Ryan. He's now scheduled. And studies, I just need to assign an employee. And I would like to have Ben on this. If I would like to assign a vehicle for some structure work, again, right click, vehicle, let's see what's available. I'm going to use the Highlander, and now it's assigned. And it's as simple as that. So if you look at the different kinds of scheduling that you're seeing on here, you can understand what those bars look like and what they mean. Now, if I wanted to link events, again, all I have to do for my sample project, let's say that I wanted to link this to this, I can create a dependency here. I can add in my deadline. This needs to happen here. And the milestone is for when it's completed, right? As simple as that. So that's what you're looking at in terms of scheduling. It's drag and drop, creating choices, easy assignments, and deadlines, and also tracking not only costs, but days budgeted. I mean, this could relate to cost as well. So whatever it is that you need to track in your specific project, for tasks, people, it doesn't matter. This is what we can share with you on your schedule and in your planner. The project planning portion of it, again, this is going to give you is a view of your employees. So your employees, you'll be able to see who's available and who's not. This is a good resource for kind of really visual planning. You can see who from your technical design office, for example, might be busy or when they're available, who's available, things like that. The employee resource is a really good way to visually track availability as well as forecasting as you start assigning people into the future for jobs, and you can assess resources. I'll go into more detail on that later. Now, the other functionality we have here is a Gantt chart. So any project that has many activities on it, we can provide a Gantt view, which is what you see here. Now, more and more we're finding what a lot of construction efforts include or are considering is critical path. So what we've enabled here is that if I have this, I can just click on my calendar, I look at my Gantt chart, I click on critical path. This is going to give me required steps to completion. Okay, so it's easy as just clicking on a button from your Gantt to your critical path. So those are your project capabilities. Your overview, your project planning, you're able to see a Gantt and critical path, and you can select different projects that you choose just to kind of see those views as well. Now for your resource management, your employees, resources, let's go to, this is the internal activities view. So you have in the course of, everyone's work, there's trainings, there's meetings, there's all kinds of things that can happen or that need to be scheduled in order for you to track your people and what's going on with them. So this is again a drag and drop, as is usual in visual planning. What we can do is we can just drag down, for example, a professional training for an individual. Just drag it onto Ellen Garrison, and this is let's say going to take, let's say it's going to take 4 hours, okay, because she's got some special training. And this is going to be her safety training, for example. Now, you're going to notice the scale here is different. Now, we have different options, and we can provide several of them in terms of time scales for scheduling. Some require half hours, some require hours, some require days. We put this into hours here, just for example, because obviously, internal activities may take hours, not days. So that's what we've done here. So we can track the number of hours and bring that to scale. But you have lots of options in terms of what kind of time scale you're going to need. Employee, so this is your employees. So this is your resource load. Again, this is This view is focused on your employees, who's doing what and when. The value of this is, again, showing availability. What it's also showing, though, is opportunity to, number one, assign time off to people if they request it. This is showing you what your resource load looks like, and it's the value of this is to be able to share with you if you can deliver your project on time. Do you have enough resources? Are you not utilizing your resources efficiently? Again, it enables you to make good decisions for your business about delivery, planning, and just looking at your crews and what looks possible in taking on new jobs and providing new quotes. Certification management. So many their skill sets assigned to different workers for different things. So, to operate a vehicle or machinery. Certifications are important, and you want to be able to track those for your employees. So if you click, this information is provided, the details on each employee that you have. So holiday salary, things like that. And also the certifications that they've been awarded or that they're currently under. So what you could do, let's say that we want to, for Thomas Norris, we would like to give him an H2 certification, right? We need him to be certified for that. All we do is we drag and drop it onto Thomas. Okay, and we want to assign him a certification. And we're going to make the certification good for a year. Okay, so it'll expire in 2022. We'll go okay. So now he has a certification here. All right, so now you can easily see, who has what. On the right-hand side shows certifications that are coming up. Expirations or renewals are coming up. So this can give you a heads up as to who those employees are. We can also automate email notifications saying in 30 days you're going to need to, take your test again or whatever it is that they need to do. So this kind of gives you alerts and what's coming up, and you can take action internally to make sure that there's no lapse between renewals. Now, this is an interesting application as well for vehicles or equipment, whether they need, let's say, maintenance or renewals, things like that. You can actually really use this for a number of different purposes. Okay. So now let's go to reporting. So as long as anything is tracked in visual planning, we can generate a report on it. So I've got two reports here. This first one is really based on projects and tasks. Again, we're keeping metrics in visual planning, so we can do it by date, we can do it by project or specific phases, progress, budgets, things like that. So it depends really on what you need. But again, as I said, as long as we're tracking it in visual planning, a report can be generated and exported into an Excel or CSV file. Same thing for employees. Whatever your employee metrics that are required, as long as we're tracking it, we can generate some kind of report for you. So really, everyone's company is different, but I know that for construction companies, they're trying to track costs and labor, things like that. So whatever it is that you need is how we would actually configure the reports for you to make sure that you have the data that's most important to you. Now, one of the other things in our research that we hear about, obviously, is remote access to a planner, right? So you want to talk to the guys in the field. You want to make sure everyone is able to communicate in real time, and that's where our remote access to visual planning comes in via tablets and smartphones. So, in terms of the tablet with visual planning, for VPGO is our tablet application. It's optimized for tablets. On the front page, you're going to see a dashboard. This is an interactive dashboard. It enables you to, and we would customize this to you so that you can have immediate access to some information that's important to you on a daily basis. It's up to you if you want projects in progress, if you want to know who's out today. You will just want to see what the current progress is. You know, again, everything in visual planning is in real time. So this is what you would see, but this is something that we could design for you in terms of creating a interactive dashboard. Kanban capabilities are also available in visual planning. So if you go to a specific project, you can see the tasks that are involved in that specific project. We can also change statuses and go from one to the other. So I want to cancel. But you can move these, move these to another column if you choose and change the status on that. The employee planning as well as what you saw earlier in VP Desk gives you access to the employee schedules. So you can do it by week, working week, which is what you see here. You can do it by month. You're able to see, you know, who's doing what and where and for what duration. You can do it for the day. You can also do searches for specific employees that you need to find out about, and you'd like them on a special project for you for something that's coming up. The Gantt View is available in visual planning as well on the different projects that you're working with. So you can just kind of scroll to see or search for a specific project that you want to know what's going on with and what's scheduled and who's assigned. Certification management, this is a drag and drop. If you want to kind of look into employee information, you can just call it up that way. You get their contact data. If you want to drag and drop a skill set onto an employee, you can do that as well. And this is interesting. This is our WhatsApp. This is almost like it's like a chat. People can create different events or discussions and enter the data. And so let's say that I have a question here about the company party. Okay, you know, is parking free? I'd like to send that question out for a company party, enter it there. Go back. Now you can see that there's a discussion in the company event. So you can see what the discussions that have been going on. So this is in the VP portal. This is our tablet, again, tablet application. And again, depending on what it is that you need to see, we would develop something for you that will enable you to share the information that you need to. So apologies for technical difficulties, but the next application, Sean's going to share with you capabilities of VPGO, which is our phone app. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sean.
Hey, thank you so much. And I want to thank the audience for all the questions so far. You know, want you to feel free to continue to ask questions. We will answer them. We promise. It's going to be towards the end at the last segment, so we will get to them at the end there. All right. So VPGO is Visual Planning's mobile application and is commonly used out in the field. So each crew member will have their own login credentials for access through the app. The app will automatically update once an internet connection is established and show the schedule for your crew members. So just want to share, you should be able to see my screen. Okay, great. So the next thing I'm going to go over is some of the features and in VPGO and how it is commonly being utilized. So upon logging in, I will be redirected to the home page, which is what we're seeing right here. And this includes menu options and high-level reporting. Let's start by clicking on the agenda view right over here. So you will notice an interactive monthly calendar that will easily allow you to scroll ahead or back in a monthly scale here. Okay. So whenever you see a date that's highlighted in blue, it shows that I am working on a project and task on that day. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Monday, September 13th. And then below the calendar, you're going to see a list of tasks that I'm working on for that specific day. So it looks like I only have one for that day. And if I want to see more details or enter in notes or change the status of a task, I can do so by simply clicking on my name. So I will click here. Okay, and here you're going to see all the details here for the tasks. And I'm also able to make adjustments and enter in any comments and notes. To show you how simple it is to change the status of this task, I will click on task status right over here. Okay, and then I will click on actual right up on the top here, and then just confirm my page, my changes here. Okay, so if I want to add comments to this task, I can do so by clicking on the comments icon. I'm going to go back into here and click on the comments icon down below. And then right here, I can type in my message. I could say, this is my message. And then just send that out. Okay, and you'll notice here that it'll give you a timestamp as well as the username who actually posted this message. So let's go back to the agenda view. Just gonna say yes for now. Okay, and on the bottom right-hand side, there's a filter which will allow me to see all my colleagues' schedules. So I'm just gonna click on this and I could scroll up and down and see all my colleagues. And if I click on all up on the top here, this is showing me, you can see how the calendar just filled up because on each different date here, there's different tasks by different employees that are being worked on. Okay. So visual planning does allow for user rights and permissions should you want to limit what each user sees and what they can change. So that is available to you. So next I want to show you how the agenda view looks when I rotate my smartphone in landscape mode. So I'm just going to click this icon, a little button here that says rotate. And now you can see my weekly schedule similar to an Outlook or a Google Calendar with the days on the top and the times on the left-hand side here. I could easily scroll down and up, to navigate here. So I'm going to go back into landscape mode for now. And I'm going to go back to the home page. And if I wanted to create a PTO or request some time off, I could do so simply by clicking on absence request. I would choose a date that I want to put in my request. So let's say the 27th. And then down on the bottom right-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and click on that plus sign. And I will choose myself. And then finally, I'm going to choose PTO and validate. And that's how simple it is to request some time off here. So if I were a foreman or project manager, I could easily see a list of certifications. So I'm going to go back to the home page here. So here's where I can see a list of certifications and who they are assigned to and their respective start and end dates. And I can add more details if I click on a specific certification. So that's also available to us here. And let's go back to the home page. So here, I'm able to see a list of all the projects and open tasks by clicking on tasks to assign. So I'll click on this here, and if I scroll down, These are all the open tasks grouped by projects. So if I want to, let's say, start at, I don't know, this project off up on the top here, building orange, and I click on this one here, I would just simply assign an employee by clicking, click on this section here. Oh, let me go back for a minute. Try the one above. There we go. And let's go ahead and click on, we'll assign Ellen. And okay, and then we would actually have Ellen assigned. Okay. So this concludes the VPGO segment, and now Brian and I will begin the Q&A segment.
Thanks again, Shant. It looks like we have a few questions in our queue right now. So let's begin with our first question. Does Visual Planning Certification Tracker offer push notification to users, and how does that work?
Yep. So basically, push notifications, it can be enabled and customized for a specific rule. So if you like to notify an employee that their certification is going to expire in, let's say, I don't know, 30 days or so, then we would be able to have a push notification sent to that respective user.
Got it. Great. Also, just a quick reminder, you can still input questions into the chat, so feel free to do so. Now we have another question asking, how far into the future can you schedule projects?
So currently there are no limitations on how far ahead you can schedule projects. You can schedule years and years ahead, and you can even archive, previous years as well. And anytime you want to pull up those archived projects, you can do so. So there's no limitations on how far back or far ahead that you want to go ahead and forecast or plan and schedule out.
Awesome. That was a great question. It looks like we have a few more. My company uses a lot of data. How long is the implementation process with visual planning?
So we do offer different storage options using our shared cloud and our dedicated cloud servers. If you will be storing large files, then we recommend you link one of Visual Planning's cloud services plugins, such as like a Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive. If you have one of those accounts, we could link it right to Visual Planning, which is a seamless way to store and access all your data.
Gotcha. This looks like it's one of the last ones, but does your system allow field workers to clock in and out when they arrive and leave the job site?
So that's a good question, and it's actually a really common feature in the construction industry for sure. So yes, field workers can clock in and clock out using the mobile app on their smartphones. We can also set up geofencing to ensure that the field workers are clocking in or out within a specific proximity from their job site. This way, they're not, clocking in or out, when they're not physically present, which has been a pretty popular request. So yes, we do have that capability, and it is available on our smartphone app.
Great. Before we end, does anyone else have any questions? I just want to give out like a couple of seconds before we conclude. Well, great. It was awesome seeing all those questions. Unfortunately, this concludes the question and answer portion of today's webinar. If you'd like to learn more about visual planning, you can visit our website at visual-planning.com. Additionally, you can also contact the visual planning team on our following social media platforms at Visual Planning Powered. If there's anything else you want to learn about visual planning as far as latest updates, scheduling resources, digital events involving visual planning, feel free to follow us on those platforms. And this concludes today's webinar.
Thanks, everyone.